Hey, everybody. Good evening and welcome back. Hope everybody is doing well. Here recently, I had noticed this headline case that just recently took place right before New Year's Eve. And I've been slowly kind of following it. I've been watching just a couple of channels here. And then, kind of just sitting back and kind of thinking on this one. Um, so a lot of you guys, if you guys have been following this case, I believe it might have been today that they released the 911 calls on this case. I want you guys to pay really close attention. This is why I came up with this prediction that I've came up with, because I just caught wind of this case in the last couple of days, and I have not heard anybody at all suggest this theory. Okay, how I came up with this, pay attention. So the 911 calls that were released today, I believe, the owner of this dental office, okay, he allegedly was on vacation or out of state, I believe in the state of Florida. So when this dentist allegedly did not show up, it was out of the norm. Office staff had, obviously called the owner, the main dentist, who was out of state with some concerns, obviously. Okay. Now, I want you guys to pay really close attention if you guys have listened to the 911 call. The dentist calls into 911. He does not ask 911 if there have been any accidents. Okay. The reason why I find that to be very interesting is he immediately requested a welfare check at the home. Did not ask if there were any accidents that happened that morning in the area that he would have been traveling to from home to work. That right there kind of gave me a red flag. It let me know that, okay, he may be familiar with something that this guy is possibly involved with. And I don't think it's drug related at all. I don't think this has anything to do with a marital affair. I have a very, very strong hunch that this has to do with gambling. And the reason why is because the time of the night that this occurred, allegedly, and this was a personal crime, it was alleged that the male, was shot multiple times and that the wife was allegedly shot once. Okay. So pay very close attention. The male was obviously the target. Okay. And they didn't unharm the children, which obviously were probably asleep given the time of the wee hours that this had occurred. I want you guys also to pay very close attention to outside of this home, across the street on the telephone pole, are city cameras. Okay, the 360 view cameras. There was 4 of them placed on a utility pole. So this family probably felt secure and safe, kind of like, oh, hey, we have a Ring camera. We have the city cameras right across the street from the house. So pay attention. Somebody who had visited that home probably multiple times or anytime probably were aware that those cameras were there. Pay attention to the released image, that is grainy image of the alleged suspect that they're looking for. The individual is plentiful aware of cameras being located outside of that home on that pole. This is somebody who's been at that house before, you guys. And then pay attention also. There was allegedly no forced entry into that home. So what does that tell you? That tells you that somebody opened the door. Somebody knew that this person was coming. Somebody probably was either maybe surprised at the person that showed up, but in my opinion, knew the person that showed up. So with that being said, it makes you wonder who opened that door. Was it the wife? Okay, because what we have only heard on the 911 call so far, this is why I think that the wife opened the door and was possibly shot once at the door, because we have not heard on the 911 call yet where the wife was found. The only information that has been released in the 911 calls is the friend or the coworker who showed up and seen that the husband was allegedly laying on the floor by the bed, and there was blood. Therefore, I believe that the wife opened the door, because I don't believe that the suspect was greeted at the door and then followed somebody upstairs, and then they went and sat on the bed to talk. Think about that. Okay. So I'm going to call it now. I think that the wife was found inside the doorway. I think she opened the door, and then they made their way up to find the husband who they were there for. And for that to really be a case of that many gunshots, allegedly, multiple, that's a personal crime. That's money. That's money. So I started to think to myself, okay, what's taking place the day before New Year's Eve when this event took place? Okay, there's a lot of sporting games going on. There's the wild card games. Um, there is a lot of college football, tournaments and stuff like that going on, bowls. So then I think to myself, okay, what is close to their home? Okay, there's some bars and there's some, things like that, blocks away, stuff like that. Not anything that's like right next to the house or anything like that. So then I started thinking, okay, well, what is close to where this man's office is, where he works at? So guess what? 5 minutes away from the office is no other than the casino in Columbus, Ohio. So here is what my suggestion would be for law enforcement or family members or friends who are familiar with this couple or possibly work with him or who are investigating this case. I would strongly urge for you to go to the casino, see if he has a player's card, see when the last time he attended the casino, if he's a regular, and check the footage. Because if he's a regular who ventures there a lot, this could be a case of him owing money to a loan shark. Okay. And before people think that that sounds ludicrous and crazy, it absolutely is not. If you've ever been in a casino and you've sat at a blackjack table, baccarat, anything, okay, debts can get debts can get pretty high very, very quickly. I have watched at tables where people have lost 10, 15, $25,000 like in an hour. No shit. Um, so just because this is a dentist does not necessarily mean that they could not have a gambling debt or a gambling problem. So here's where my mind is going with this is every single person, okay, who called 911 and wanted a welfare check. Nobody at all, nobody asked 911 if there was any known accidents in the area. People were dead set on, hey, we need a welfare check. That tells me that there is a possibility that people may have known that this individual could have possibly, gambled. Who knows? I just strongly feel that that's the case. I don't think that this is a um, I don't think this is any other kind of a personal agenda. Okay. If this was an affair or something like that, we'd already heard other people coming forth and suggesting having knowledge, something. Okay. This tells me that, okay, people may know that this individual uh, could have possibly had some sort of a addiction as far as gambling because it's literally 5 minutes from the office. 5 minutes. Now, think about this, okay? This guy has wife, two young kids at home. He gets off work and he's passing the casino that's on his way home, 5 minutes away from the office. Thinks, oh, hey, gonna go relax, maybe have a beer, play some games. Okay, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. And I'm telling you, people don't think that these loan sharks or gambling is dangerous. It absolutely is. I mean, you can rack up a high debt, just like a person who is on drugs, can rack up a drug debt very quickly, very, very quickly. Um, so again, this is a person who is clearly familiar with the home, familiar with where the cameras were. They were smart enough to cover all aspects of their face, conceal themselves with a hooded sweatshirt, and comfortable enough to make entrance to the home and to obviously be let in by somebody because there's no forced entry. And I highly doubt that this couple left their doors unlocked while they went to bed. Okay. And then they have the Ring door camera. Okay. Well, who knows? Maybe that was blacked out. Maybe the person went through the back door. There's something that was taking place. Or it's a possibility that they disconnected the Wi-Fi so that the camera wouldn't even work. These are details that I am very interested to see if that's going to come out, is if there was any kind of wires cut for the Wi-Fi or the electric that prevented the Ring camera from picking up the person on camera. Okay. But pay attention to those details. And what I am pointing out here is because the 911 call, again, it gave no information whatsoever where the wife was found. Again, we only heard that the man, the husband, was found next to the bed and that they could see blood. So he obviously wasn't the person who opened the door. It had to have been the wife. So I have a feeling that it's going to come out that she was the person who opened the door and was found probably at the door or the downstairs of that home. Something, and this is also proof, in my opinion, that this person showed up unexpectedly. It's what I feel, because the husband was in bed asleep during the time that this person came. So again, I mean, what else was taking place? This was the day before New Year's Eve. Okay. So think about that too. Is, oh, okay, well, if you're into sports betting, or if you have a gambling addiction or a gambling debt or a sports betting debt that could have occurred and been taking place, and you were given a deadline of, hey, by X amount of date, okay, who knows? I mean, this could have been something that could have been occurring a lot. You don't know. Um, because again, what makes me lean this direction is for the owner of this dentist office to be in Florida and to immediately request for a welfare check at the house. Okay. That told me right then, well, why wouldn't any of these people thought there was a possibility that there could have been an accident of some sort? But that wasn't the case. I mean, everybody immediately was like, get to that house and do a welfare check. Okay, there was something that was going on, that people are not coming out and don't want to get people's business out there. They don't want to get messy. This kind of stuff happens all the time. I mean, sure, you see this image and this picture of this, like, very attractive, well-to-do couple who have two children, picture perfect house, picture perfect life, right? Okay, hello, people, wake up. It's usually those type of families who have secrets, who have things that are taking place and going on. Okay. Um, I tell you, the whole gambling thing. I mean, I don't think that people really truly understand the amount of money that is blown through and the amount of money that is easily created as far as a very high debt that can occur. And people look at that and just think, oh, well, that's not a big deal. Oh, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. I mean, people, loan sharks, and here's the other thing too. These loan sharks, they get very, very comfortable with regulars who are playing table games and sports betting and stuff like that, because they know they can suck them in if they have an addiction or they have a problem. Okay. And they're right there to loan out money and say, oh, well, hey, keep trying, keep trying. And then they can charge and say whatever they want to make a person pay back a certain amount. Well, guess what? Then that person gets way in over their head. Then they're up way fucking, more than what they thought. And a lot of the times in these cases, a lot of these times, the spouses have no idea, like, about the debt. They just think like, oh, they're going and having a good time, blah, blah, blah. Or sometimes wives go too and don't even realize that there's a debt. Because I'm telling you, this is not a case of somebody just walking down the street and misidentifying these individuals. I don't believe that for a second. Mm-mm. I could see if the house right next door, if they were all the same color or something of that nature, but I just, mm-mm. Nope, 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 nope. I just don't buy it. I really don't. I seriously think that that's what we're dealing with here. So again, if there's anybody out there who knows these family members or know any of the detectives that are like working on this case, I would strongly urge you to go to that casino location, because I posted it on my community post. I Googled just to see like if there was any kind of a casino that was nearby that dentist's office. And so when I pulled it up and it said 5 minutes, I was like, holy shit. Like, and then I got goosebumps. So it was like, yep, that's what I feel. I feel that this guy has been a frequent person at that casino. So I would be really surprised if any of his family or friends or coworkers said, oh, no, 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 they never went there. Then I'd be like, oh, okay, well, then that's really weird. But I just don't think that's the case, especially given the profession, because with it being 5 minutes from the office too. You know, those places attract a lot of people who are big professionals. Okay. You get a lot of doctors, you get a lot of athletes, you get a lot of, you know, more higher society individuals that visit and frequent the casinos. And, again, people might question and say, well, how could a dentist get in debt? No, 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 no. I I beg to differ. Okay. I mean, I have personally witnessed and I have watched poor people, rich people, extremely, extremely, extremely rich people gamble when I've been on vacations and stuff. And I'm telling you, you would really be surprised, like what people were throwing down at the tables. I mean, it's crazy to me, because you have to go in a healthy mindset and just put a budget and tell yourself like, hey, this is what to play with, and then be smart enough to walk away. However, if somebody's going in there, okay, and they're drinking or they're with friends, they can easily get addicted. And who knows? Maybe I'm completely like way out there on this, but I have not heard anybody else. Nobody, not on the news, none of these huge podcasters, anybody covering this case. I have not heard one individual suggest that this could be a gambling debt, or put together the fact that this dentist office is 5 minutes away from the big casino that's located there in that city and in that state. So again, could be totally wrong, but I mean, it's a strong possibility. So if you think it's a possibility, put a 1. If you think it's not a possibility, put a 2. Because my gut vibe is telling me that this guy definitely went to the casino 5 minutes from the office, after work, weekend, something. But I feel that this could be possibly something to do with a gambling debt or some sort of sports betting that took place, honestly. Because nothing else is measuring up, nothing else is adding up. And a lot of the times when it comes to a loan shark and stuff, they're not going to typically be after the wife or the children. especially small children, they're usually going just after the person who owes the money. Okay. What I think happened in this situation, I think that the wife was only shot because she opened the door and probably, screamed or reacted or tried to fight. Something happened. And I'm telling you, I don't think that they're going to release the information because it's an ongoing investigation. Um, but I do. That's what I feel so strong in my gut about is that she opened that door, she was shot, and then the suspect made entrance to the home, found the husband upstairs in the bed since the 911 call stated that the friend who went over there could look in and see that he was laying on the floor by the bed in blood. Okay. Well, she couldn't be laying on the floor in blood either, I wouldn't think, because if that were the case, then who would have let the intruder in? You see what I mean? Because there was no forced entry. I mean, now I did see the keypad door lock on the exterior of the property, which I am familiar with those kind of door locks because those are like what the Airbnbs have and stuff like that. However, if let's say the electric lines or the Wi-Fi was powered off or disconnected, and that's why nothing showed up on the Ring camera, well, then I would say that the lock probably wouldn't work and be accessed from the exterior. It would only be able to be accessible from the interior, being the inside. So I don't think that that's a possibility either. I literally think that this was somebody who caught them off guard, and I believe that the mom woke up and went to the door. And see, this goes back to that damn camera up there on the telephone pole adjacent from the home across the street. I think that these people just thought that they were in a safe area. They were protected. There was, these great cameras and stuff, which something else that strikes me very odd here is I'm very confused about the footage from that camera about how shitty the quality is because listen, if you've ever been in other big large cities downtown, it's normal to see those cameras like that on the telephone poles, especially in more like bad areas that they're just kind of revamping up and putting all these new homes and redoing homes and stuff because they're trying to get a certain area of each city up and booming again, right? So they put these cameras all over for safety. Now, I've been to a lot of big cities that have those downtown. And let me tell you, the quality is so clear, even at night, like crystal, like perfect. When I seen that, I thought, oh, that's fucking weird. Like that is really super poor, low quality. Like it's kind of odd to me, because there's no reason why that image should be that grainy and that crappy. Those are supposed to be very high definition, like good badass cameras. So it makes you wonder, like, hey, okay, what's going on with that city? You might want to get better quality cameras, clean them. Maybe it's due to the weather. It looked like there was snow in that area in some of the pictures, so that could be a factor. Maybe they were covered in ice, salt, snow. Um, there's just a lot of very strange factors, but the timing is everything to this case because again, this took place, right before New Year's Eve. So that's the other thing too. Okay, was there something that was supposed to take place on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day? Did possibly, okay, if this is a gambling, okay, let's say this. If this was possibly a gambling incident, now I said all the possibilities if he were to owe somebody money. Okay. But now I want to reverse it and see what you guys think on this, that this could be a possibility. It could also be a possibility as well that somebody could have possibly owed him a debt. Okay. There could have been somebody that he loaned money to at some point in time that they owed him possibly money by the first of the year. or something, some sort of a loan. So this is what's going to be very, very helpful and very interesting in this investigation, which I'm sure that police and detectives are already currently, working on timeline and going over like all the bank transactions and online transactions, phone records, stuff of that nature. And this is why I think it's so critical for them to check this casino and player cards because, again, if he were to have given somebody a loan and he said, hey, you have till the first to pay this back, okay? There could have easily been some sort of a IOU or just anything, okay? Because again, it's very, very easy for somebody to get into a huge, huge, huge mess with a large amount of money in a very short amount of time, okay? So with him being a dentist, hey, he could have possibly had the money to loan somebody, or it's going to be opposite possibly, and he owes somebody else fucking money. Um, I seriously just believe that money is. I don't know. I really, I have that strong gut intuition here, that money is the factor here, and I don't know. I guess I have a bigger concern and a question as to why when the people called in to 911, why they were not first off hesitant and questioning if there would have been a car accident. Like, why did people automatically know, hey, something's not right, get to the house? So that right there told me that, there's a possibility that some people may have known that there's definitely some other factors going on. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know, you guys. But then again, it could be something totally, totally different than this. But my thing here is that they have nothing. They have nothing right now. And this individual, you guys, if this was just some random robbery, okay, and they were just randomly targeted, here's the thing. Somebody not familiar with them, not familiar with the house, not familiar with the area, would have never known about the camera across the street on the poles and would have easily just none of it makes sense. I mean, sure, somebody going by that house could easily see that they have a Ring camera, okay? But I don't know. Something is off. It's driving me fucking nuts to know if I'm right about this case. Because at first I didn't even really follow this case when I heard about it. It wasn't until I heard the 911 call today, and it was like, okay, something's up with this. Like, this is not setting right at all. So I don't know, but that's just kind of what my gut is telling me here. But nevertheless, it's a very unfortunate and very sad case. And again, the whole timing, right before New Year's. But it just makes you, you know what else is really, really fucking odd here? Okay. I know this sounds kind of crazy. Okay. And this just came out of fucking nowhere. And I get this stuff sometimes, you guys. Okay. Something just came over me as a thought really quick, and I want to share it. Um, huh, that's really odd. So here's something else. Here's something else to possibly consider that I've not heard anybody else talk about and suggest as well. Possible insurance fraud. I don't know why that just came to me. I mean, it literally just came to me like hair on my fucking arm stood up. Insurance fraud. What that could be is it a possibility that we are dealing with some sort of issues that were going on that maybe this dentist caught wind of or something? I don't know. Um, it's so weird that just like came to me, honestly. Like that just came out of fucking nowhere. But these are possibilities. of things. I mean, because, again, this goes back to the 911 call where the owner of this dentist office, the main dentist, calls from being out of state in Florida and basically allegedly requests for a welfare check to be performed, but doesn't ask if there was any accidents. Like he knew or had a hunch to go and do a welfare check was needed on this family. And he had also stated that something on the lines of the wife couldn't be reached either, which was very concerning. So, again, I mean, you have a dentist who is out of state, conveniently in another state, far away from the crime scene. I don't know. I mean, I've heard some crazy shit. Um, we've heard, doctors who have been tried and accused of insurance fraud for billing, like Medicaid and, just for different services that like didn't get done or, something like that. And I'm not saying that that's what took place at this particular dentist office. However, I'm just trying to think of things that nobody else has came up with or have been highlighted yet. Okay. So that's another possibility. That there could have maybe been something that this dentist possibly uncovered. Who knows? Because I'm telling you, like in my opinion, this has to do with money. It has to do with money because this was such a personal crime. Okay. We have not heard anybody coming forth, family members or anybody, allegedly, who are saying like, hey, uh, there were things missing. Okay, think about this. For the people out there who may believe that this has something to do with a armed robbery, well, let's talk about the obvious. Okay, now, are they going to come back and say that the wife, her wedding ring or jewelry was missing? I don't believe that they are, you guys. Mm-mm. No, this was something to do with money. So my gut is either A, it's going to be on gambling, or B, it's going to be on some sort of some sort of information that he discovered that could have put somebody in trouble or possibly in jail, is what I believe. I mean, it's just kind of weird timing, but I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So if you guys think that that's a possibility, put a 1. Or if you think it's the gambling possibility, put a 2. Because I'm really curious if you guys have ever heard stories about that in the past to where there's been some sort of insurance fraud that have taken place at dentist offices or at doctors' offices. Because I mean, I've certainly heard of that. Um, because again, I don't know. Nobody else can make sense of the scam case. Um, Again, just trying to think outside of the box here. Like, what are people not suggesting? What are people not exploring in this case? And in my opinion, it's you think outside the box. You think of every possible factor in a case like this. So, but it definitely has my interest and my attention on this case. I find it to be just rather puzzling to say the least. And I don't know. We're gonna stay tuned on this one. So anyhow, much love to all of you guys. Good to see all of you here in chat. Hi to all of you lovelies. And I don't know. I'm gonna do a little bit more research on this one because I am very intrigued on, hey, what the hell could be taking place here? So we'll definitely follow up on this case, and then I don't know. We'll do another live maybe probably this week, one day. So, anyways, much love to you guys. Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a great holiday and all that good stuff. So, stay tuned. I'm going to do some more research and post some more stuff on this case. And we will talk again soon. But keep your ears open, you guys. Pay very close to all the news releases that come out about this case because I'm really superly excited to hear about the details on if any of this stuff lines up or not. So, again, much love to all of you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And thank you to all the new subs who have subbed up. Much love to all of you guys.